In this video, I want to make a track walkthrough with you guys through the track Kali I did with Amplify together. And the album where the track is contained in is currently #1 in Beatport. I guess it's a very interesting project to check out for you guys. And thanks for the support for the guys who bought the track or the album. And so I will play through the track and go about a few interesting things I see. So first, just to mention, it's not the full track and it's not the mixed and final track, because I did kind of like the first half to the break and then I sent him the project, like all the leads and everything. When I started, he asked me to give this whole track like an Indian touch, because his whole album kind of like has that Indian vibe to it, and he wanted to fit the track into the album. So the whole album is kind of like a collab album with different great artists out there. So what I did here in the intro, I wanted to set the vibe for the track, and I found samples here of an Indian street market. Actually, I don't know if they finally landed in the track, so that's kind of like the grain of salt. I didn't check the track in detail before, and I created that project in February this year, so it's quite a little bit time passed since that. But anyways, I want to show you kind of like my thought process behind this, and also those kind of like sitars here. I thought they are kind of like nice steps which enhance that Indian vibe here. I also processed the stuff a little bit, so it's not kind of like original sounds like I have them. Also, I felt this congas here. Yeah, I think congas come somewhere from Africa or Cuba maybe, or whatever. But anyways, I felt they suited the vibe. Also, there's this one melodic thing before the drop. Which I think also had quite an Indian touch to it and really suited the thing. And yeah, tigers live in India, so I couldn't resist to put like a tiger in here. Also, I imagine it pretty cool to be on the dance floor and you get this tiger approaching on whatever trip you are right now there. So I thought that could kind of like fit really cool the vibe. And the same goes in here for the next section, which we'll listen. Especially this one, I think, gives it a real cool vibe. I kind of like gated it towards the end. I think that's also a cool move. And then we have kind of like the repetition here. So that's kind of question answering in this block and then in this block. I think that connects the track a little bit. And then we kind of like move on with that vocal pattern here. Yeah, it's like some like gated, you can see it's like India noise ambient, so I probably bounced it out of that street stuff or some other thing which had some vocalish elements in it, and then put some processing on, which makes it a little bit more vocalish. Yeah, I think the rising is pretty cool. I think it's with bit crushing. Just need to check out where I have it. Yeah, it's here. So we have this ARP here. So as far as I can hear, it's kind of like has a bit crush in the beginning on it, which gets reduced over time and rises a little bit in frequency. And I think I'm opening also the decay or sustain, depending, like making kind of like the whole thing a little bit longer and less gated, I think, towards the end. Not much, but a little bit. Yeah, so then there's also, again, this kind of like element which makes it like a little bit vocalish here. So that's kind of the theme I bring a little bit in here. Also here's like vocals, with a lot of vocals in it actually. Because I think India is also like, if you think about Bollywood and all that stuff, it's a lot with like singing and vocals, so I thought it really fits here very well. Here in that section, it's mainly that FM. With those kind of like little stabby higher shots. So notice that the one FM is like a little bit lower in tone and the other one is quite high. So that's always something, if you combine elements, try to have like a balance in your mix, try to have different kind of elements, then they won't collide so much. It doesn't really matter actually if the frequencies overlap. It's not that you have to have something which only lows and something which only highs. I think what is more important is how we perceive it. Is it more like a high sound because maybe most of the frequencies are there or are higher in that band. So that's my opinion on that. Plays then along with that ARP here. And I think that ARP also has that kind of like a little bit squeaky touch, which I think see in a lot of like Indian instruments, and also kind of like a little bit oriental vibe from the notes. As you also can see, it's announced already here. And through the bit crusher, there's like a heavy bit crusher on it. And if you have the bit crusher somewhere like between like 3 and maybe like 900 hertz, you get that kind of like vocal, vowelish thing also out of it, which suits all the vocals in the tracks and kind of like makes it a theme again, I guess. Yeah, here you have again a combination of different vocals. I chopped them up a little bit so to give some rhythm, and then they kind of like explode in here. And we also have this thing here, just some like zap from a sample pack. And some Indian vocal I found in Loop Cloud. So if you want to steal it, check out the name. And then you can use the same. Yeah, and also like a zap again, so it's kind of like zap, a vocal zap, and then comes some pad, which is also very vocalish. So you could say like it's zap, vocal, and here's like all vocal here. So that's kind of like the concept in that block. And we have some FMs here which give some company. What I did here, I also went quite not progressive, but like really long sections also. So you can see this one is going for quite a while. So like, 24 block. And this one is going also like 16, 32, 64, 74, 80 blocks. Is that right? Yeah, but very long. See, this one is taking basically, I think, a quite similar position to this one. So I went quite simple actually with the rhythms in here, and I think that's also something which I find really important in a lot of Psytrance tracks. If you don't go too crazy with everything, I mean, the tracks are already so crazy. There's like so much happening, and the synthesis of the sounds is so crazy and everything. So sometimes you just need to have some kind of like static elements which repeat a bit more, give some structure, fall maybe in rhythmic slots, which you're used to. You just need to find out what's fit. If you like this video so far, please give it a thumbs up, because that will help me to spread this video and to share it with more people. And let me also know in the comments which topics you're interested, because that will be in the next videos I will be creating for you. And it's really important for me to know what you're interested in. You can see I named it root with different samples. So I guess here's the same. I'm taking like the same rhythmic slot. Let's compare. Yeah, and slightly change the sound. So we still have the format, but this one is lower. So it's probably some synth which has like a sample in it, or a wavetable, and they just swapped this probably to get like a different sound, but kind of like staying in the same domain and staying in the same rhythm. Sometimes like this little cheats where you just swap a few things, like a filter, a wavetable, a sample, can already help you to make the difference in your track, but at the same time glue it really together. Here's like a flanger. It's the same concept as before. Notice we have that a little bit lower FM. And then we have the flanger, which is really high in frequency. And this one maybe also like mid-high, so as this one is not coming so often, you see like this is kind of like timely separated, so it's not really overlapping a lot with that one here. And this one's also kind of like timely separated, but also from the frequency, so I think they can overlap maybe a little bit more than those here. And we'll have this one. Yeah, which is quite going on all the time. So if we would say something collides, then it's probably more those two than those two here. But to be honest, I'm not giving a lot of importance about it. It's not that I'm thinking, oh, this could collide. I just listen to it and I see if it sounds good to me, or it gives me... Usually actually a good trick if you want to know if something collides is just turn something off. Like this, notice, does it improve it or not? I mean, you don't have to be like a music expert for most of the things you do. You just need the ability to listen if something gets better or worse. And And that's actually all for like a lot of decisions. If you're less experienced, then you just need more try and error to find the elements. But I guess everyone from us can say we like this more or this more, and if not, then maybe there's just no difference in it. But that easy, I would say. Yeah, I think that's a cool thing between here and here. As you might have noticed, I just skipped this part. I mean, probably in the original track there's a little bit more automation stuff and everything going on, as it's more advanced from the stage than this one. But I think that's still a cool concept if you have some major block like this, which really gives the full throttle. Then if you go a little bit static before, sometimes it can actually help to give this difference in the section. So you notice this is like very wild thing, which moves all the time here around in the frequencies. We have some kind of like band pass or filter cue moving here, while this was more like a static section here over here. And also you notice the connection. I think you can see it quite well, and you might have seen it in other tracks of mine. I always try to kind of like maintain a few elements which connect. Also what I like to do is if you have like a main thing like this that I announced it before, it doesn't need to be it doesn't always have to be exactly here. You could also kind of like announce it here, or as here we have it in different variations before. That's kind of like a cool thing if you want to land here. As I told before, you're always looking for some diversity, and if you haven't seen my video about balance, then check this link above here, because those two, I mean, they're both FMs, but let's say this is more static one, and this is like a more wild and moving one, and so that also creates kind of like a difference in the behavior, in the properties of those synths. And here's a little tiny variation in the middle. As I listen now, I'm not too sure if I find it cool anymore, but it's also something you can do to announce a little bit the grid, the timing in here. You can also do this here to announce a little bit how you say, like the grid, the timing, the rhythm maybe, so that you place something in here. Maybe I would place it then rather here or here now than here. And also this one is maybe not the best thing I did here, but it can be a cool concept to kind of like reinforce that you are here at that 8-bar mark. You can also stop the drums, kick bass. Here also that heavy bit crushed element gives again that vocalish thing to it, which kind of like goes all through that track here. Just saying, like, I usually look for a lot of diversity in tracks, but on this one I really ride at that vocal thing. So usually sometimes if I have like a lot of vocal things, then maybe I look for something more robotic, digital, but sometimes it can really fit if you hang on one thing. So this one is a bit weaker. I guess I'm EQing it out. I was looking, sometimes I also do things warp if I break those leads down. Can be also a good option, like gating it or something like that. And then we go here into, you see like the connection again to the break with that dark vocal monk-like thing here. And also very simple, like same position always, not too many things, not too many notes, very kind of like a little bit repetitive hypnotic. And let me know in the comments which topics you are interested, and give this video a thumbs up.